Welcome, my little friends, to the 105th episode of the Sales Podcast, number 105. What is going on here? Pumping these puppies out. Today we have Miss Carrie Wilkerson, the Barefoot Executive. What a cool lady to meet. What a great story. If you are online looking at this, the headline that I pulled out of this was From Battling Depression to Building an Empire, starting with a list of just 3 people. Carrie was very open in her story. If you follow her online, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, you will see how she is very open about sharing her story. She was, as she said, the mom next door. She adopted a couple of kids, was not educated in business, but as she said, she got into it out of necessity. I will let her tell the rest of her story. Don't want to steal her thunder, but suffice it to say, she overcame the odds and is truly one of those, if I can do it, you can too. And she's not shy about telling that story of how she really came from rock bottom. I think you'll find it interesting. You know, we get into, what to follow when you realize just following your passion isn't enough, how to beat your competition by 1,700%, how to overcome the hermit in you and make a name for yourself in your market, and about 15 other key insights. So enjoy this interview with Carrie Wilkerson, the Barefoot Executive. Carrie Wilkerson, fellow Texan, all the way from Arlington. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Wes?
I'm good. So can I steal your woo-woo little signature line from your talks, or can we both do that?
I do woohoo a lot. I do. I don't even know where that came from. I'm just excited. I'm just bottled up energy. I can't help it.
So this will be like Mr. Rogers, because you are the Barefoot Executive. So I am at this moment taking off my shoes. All right. So
yeah.
Would that be the Barefoot Executai or what? I don't know.
I didn't even know.
That's far too advanced. You know, I'm originally from Louisiana, and English was an elective. So I don't know.
Right, so were shoes.
So were shoes and toothbrushes but anyway.
Hey, be kind.
I digress. Well, thanks for taking the time to join us. For those that do not know you, would you mind taking a minute or two and give us a little thumbnail sketch, and then we'll jump into the rabbit hole?
Yeah, so I'm just, the mom next door. 4 kids ranging in age from 7 to 19, 1 boy, 3 girls. And I am married, been living in small town Texas. I don't guess I could say that anymore. But I work at home, and the reason I work at home is because when I adopted my older 2 kids, I was instantly a mom and instantly shifted my priorities. And so I did not start a business because I was excited about business, because I was educated in business, or because I had a big idea about business, but because I just needed some extra cash so that I could be there for the babies. So really, I was a business born out of necessity. But you wouldn't know me probably walking down the street. I'm just, in my hoodie and jeans like everybody else, going to pick up the kids from school.
That is cool. That is cool. Hey, we're getting a little feedback.
Uh-oh.
Or something.
Let me put my earphones in. Hang on.
There you go.
Okay. Is that better?
Let's try that.
Yeah? No, not better? Okay. When I upgraded my operating system the other day, it changed some of my Skype settings. So let me go in here and change to this. And now let's try that again. Say something.
Hello.
Is that better?
Look at you. Look. Now, who says a stay-at-home mom with no shoes, living in a small town, no business experience, can't be technical? So there you go. That throws out all the excuses.
All the stereotypes. I can rock my technology. I am the official resident IT expert here at the house.
That's me too, and I hate that title. So if my 17-year-old was home more, I would give him more to do. I think that's why he stays away, because he knows I'm just going to ask him to reboot Mom's wireless or something. So he stays gone.
Go teach Mom how to do that.
So I was doing a little research on you, getting ready for this. And I was watching one of your videos, and I love your story. You talk about you had lost 100 pounds. You were $100,000 in debt. I didn't know you adopted some kids. I mean, it sounds like you had a lot of things stacked against you, and nobody would blame little old you for just being poor and broke and down in the mouth. But that's not your story, is it?
That's not the story. And, I would probably venture to say my mess was bigger than most, dealing with, I'm an extremist. And so I don't just get overweight. I get like obese, like big overweight. I was at 266 at my biggest, and I'm only 5'4". So no matter how you dress that up or decorate it, that's still pretty heavy and unhealthy. I was over six figures in unsecured debt. So what that means unsecured is that was not the house. That was, and I'm not a brand person or a shopper. So that really was just some mismanagement and some not paying attention. And, dealing with depression and infertility and all those kind of things, time mismanagement. And it was a dark place. It really was. So I decided that could be what it was, or I could give in and be suicidal. And I'm not mentioning that lightly. There was a very, very dark stage of my life, and I have the journals to prove it. And I said, you know what? I was created for bigger and better than this. And I choose joy, and I choose, I think empowerment is maybe overused a lot, but I said I choose to not be a victim to my own stupid choices anymore. And so really just day by day, choice by choice, I started digging myself out of a lot of that mess. And clearly there are some things you can't do anything about, like medical conditions. And depression is a very real thing, and it's a very ongoing chemical imbalance issue. I'm not dismissing that at all, but I'm saying, y'all, when we stack on top of it, debt and medical stuff and weight, at that point, we're adding to the depression with our own situational stuff. So I just decided that wasn't how the story was going to end. I had written myself into a mess, into a corner, and I was going to write myself out. So I just changed my mind and started changing my life.
How old were you when you made that decision?
I was 30. I was just a few months shy of 30. I started that business the week I turned 30 years old.
You started what business? The Barefoot Executive?
Well, no, that was actually a virtual publishing company. Now, that's what's crazy is I started a virtual publishing company on dial-up internet in 2001, before it was cool, right? Before virtual administration was a thing. I kind of was a pioneer. I took all the arrows in the chest for you people. You're welcome. And that was the year I started. Unit News was the name of it, and it was a small boutique publishing company for people in the direct sales industry.
Gotcha. So how did you pick that? You have been doing your research, I guess, because you led me into something I say all the time. And I say, don't pick what you're passionate about. Don't pick what everybody else is doing. Look at what your skill set is. Look at what you know. Look at who you know, and do what's the easiest to cash. So I chose that because I had a degree that had included some desktop publishing experience. I could put together newsletters. I had been in that direct sales company for several years, so I knew some people in that company to start my network. I started my first marketing email, Wes, was 3 people. Nice.
3 people. So that really was it. I mean, I had used somebody to do my newsletter when I was in the company. I called her. I said, I don't want to step on your toes. I don't want to encroach on your business. She said, Carrie, there are 10,000 people in this market. I can only serve 100 of them. And she mentored me and modeled for me and helped me figure out what I was doing. And then I took it and made it my own and automated some of it and templated it. And she worked with 100 people. And at the height of that company, I worked with 1,700 people a month. Yep. So that's how I picked that niche. Did I love newsletters? Nope. Was I passionate about desktop publishing? Nope. But I did love allowing my clients to work their business in their strengths. And I did love digging my way out of debt incidentally, I paid off all that debt in a year and a half.
Nice.
I did love being home for my kids, who were little, 4 and 5 at that time. I think they're now both away at school. And that's what I loved about it. So I never counsel people, hey, what are you passionate about? Hey, what do you dream of doing? I just don't do it. I think that we have a skill set. We need to look at what our space is, what our software is, what our skill set is, and who we know that we can literally get to cash as quickly as possible.
Right. So then I just set the stage for you, right? I mean, now, you're a published author, you're on the news. I mean, you're speaking.
In a good way. I'm on the news in a good way, people. I'm not on headlines.
Yeah, well, I know some NSA, FBI people. But all right, but that's hard to get to. But yeah, in a good way.
In a good way.
So that's a big shift. 30 years old. Let's face it. 30 years old, you still don't really know much.
I think 30 is the new teenager. I look back at 30. I look back at 30 and go, I still knew nothing. I'd been married 10 years. I had 2 kids, but there was so much of life that I was so naive to, and especially the way technology is changing now. I approached 40 at a totally different way. By the way, I felt like I rocked my late 30s, loved them, learned to just love who I was and what I had to offer, added 2 more kids along the way in my 30s, and the old-fashioned way. And, have loved every minute of it. Even at 40, I'm 42 now. I feel so young. I do. I just, people that say, oh, my bones are creaking and I feel old. Well, yeah, I feel that physical stuff too, but wow, I still feel like there's so much ground to cover. I feel like there's so much still left to do. So yeah, it came a long way. So I did my publishing company. I was kind of a hermit for a few years, honestly, because I was working and growing this crazy great business, and I learned to market that business through speaking. And of course, now speaking is my first love. And I always thought I would be a performer as a kid. If somebody had said, what do you dream of doing when you grow up? I thought I would be a singer. Music is just part of who I am. And I did end up being on stage, but I'm a speaker, and I feel like I can impact so many more people in that way. So I learned to market my business through speaking to small groups of people and educating, and then I learned some online direct response methods. But what happened, Wes, is that business evolved, and we did do $5 million worth of virtual newsletters in about an 8-year time period, and at the 10th year, I sold the company.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really, but not so bad for, a fat, broke housewife with depression, infertility, and a lot of debt, right? So along the way, I learned so much, and I become a constant student that people were constantly saying, how are you working at home? How are you doing this? Along the way, my husband also retired and worked at home with me as my CFO. And so I started training other people and mentoring other people, and that's how the Barefoot Executive was born. It was a nickname that I was given, and I just started a website and said, while this is an amazing place I'm in, it still feels kind of lonely and isolated, and I bet there's other people that would like to be connected with other people that are like them. And I started the website in August of 2007 because I had a 10-week-old baby. And that's what we do when our 4th child is 10 weeks old, is we start new businesses with all that spare time. And I guess we struck a nerve because within a short period of time after that, I embraced social media, and social media embraced me back. And I embraced video marketing, and it embraced me back. And through social media, I got a book contract that I wasn't even looking for.
Nice.
Because the publisher said, people need to hear from you. They need to know this is possible, and they need you to tell them how to do it. So, and that, as they say, is history. So now I spend my time doing keynotes and writing and consulting elite entrepreneurs on how to grow their business and do so while respecting their own priorities and integrity. And along the way, my kids have now grown up. That 10-week-old is now 7.5 and in 2nd grade. I homeschool the girls 3 days a week, and they go to an academy 2 days a week, and I have the freedom to do that because of my business. So there's that.
Very nice. We have 7 kids, and we homeschool the 4 youngest, except for the baby. She's only 6 months, but
it's a little early.
Yeah, I got high standards. I'm making her read. You know what I'm saying? I'm teaching her the moonshine recipe. That's what I'm doing right there.
There you go.
So what do you tell people now? I mean, looking at your track record, it's really good. But I know people will say, yeah, well, you started early. That's why you've got, what do we have here? 165,000 Twitter followers. You got all the LinkedIn people, yada, yada. 1,816 subscribers to your YouTube channel. Everything's changed now, Carrie. It's all tough. Everybody's on it. SEO's tough. Google's tough. What do you say to them?
Well, I'll tell you a few secrets. Number one, I didn't even know how many people subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's just where I host my YouTube videos for free. I don't have to pay for video storage. So, yay, 1,800 subscribers. I guess that's good. I don't even know. Twitter, I'm never even over there anymore. I have it on, I share content over there. I use it as content creation. Facebook, I am more engaging with because I feel like it can be a more meaningful platform. That really is kind of an outlet for me. It's where I connect with cool people like you and share stuff about my kids because that's a lifestyle part of my business, right? The actual real life. I don't just go over there and share content. I share life and I get to know people because I believe we're in a relationship economy. And I don't think that's new. I don't think the engagement economy is new. I know it's a great new book title. I know it's a great new concept for some people, but people, that's where I've been living since forever. That's how I grew the business in 2001. That's how I've grown this one. And I believe that's what sets me apart is that it really does all boil down to relationships. So that somebody like Wes can feel free to private message me on Facebook and say, hey, can we chat on my podcast? That's just kind of how I'm wired and how I run my business. So social media metrics maybe have changed, but we also have new platforms. So there's Instagram. It's just a matter of where are your people. It's not about the masses of people. I don't even know how that 180,000 people on Twitter happened. I really just don't even know. I remember I kept looking over my shoulder and saying, why are these people following me? What do they want from me? But that being said, Wes, I think people are hungry for leadership. And I don't mean people who write books about leadership necessarily. I mean the good old-fashioned Wizard of Oz kind of leadership in that Dorothy knew where she was going. She was going to see the wizard. And it's because she had a goal, and her goal was to get back home. And she knew there was a path, and that path was the yellow brick road. So as long as she was confident in her path and her destination and her reason for her destination, then look what happened. She assembled this motley crew of followers, and she didn't go looking for them. But when they saw she was a leader who had a plan and a path, they gladly walked alongside her. And I think the other thing we can learn from that particular leadership lesson, which I call the Oz factor, is that she walked alongside them. She didn't walk in front of them and demand that they stay and step behind her. And I think that that's how you measure your social media effectiveness. That's how you measure your email and your blog effectiveness. Is, am I connecting with people? Are they walking alongside me? Do they have belief in the plan and the process and the path? And if so, then it doesn't matter if you have 200 Twitter followers or 200,000 Twitter followers, because what you do have are the people that matter and the people that will stick with you and believe in what you're doing.
So how does somebody find the courage to...
I see what you did there. That was good.
To be themselves. Shh. I'm going to have to edit this out. Blah, blah, blah. Don't look behind the curtain. No. How do people have the courage, though, to be themselves? Because I see that all the time. The biggest thing holding people back is they think they got to be somebody else. So they think they have to have 165,000 followers or 1,816 subscribers, yada, yada, before they are somebody and are then able to get their message out.
Right. We all start at the same place, which is zero. And as babies, we all start at the same place, which is the womb, right? And we all start walking the same way. And we all start learning to talk the same way. And so it's not about you comparing to the person next to you. It's about you running your best race. That's one of the best parts of that great movie, Secretariat, is when the owner of the horse tells his daughter, let him run his own race. That's why we put the blinders on the horse, so that he's not trying to run anybody else's race. Let him run his own race. And it probably would shock most people to know I'm not a huge blog reader. I don't subscribe to email lists unless it's like Shutterfly or some commercial, something that I use. I don't watch a lot of my so-called competition because I believe my only competitor is me. And working on being the best me I can be is what resonates most deeply with my email list and with my followers. I think when we try to show off to our followers or try to project a certain image, that's when their BS radar goes off. I share the stupid stuff I do as well as the good stuff that I do. And the truth is, I probably don't share near enough of the good stuff that I do. And I share way too much of the daily stupid stuff that I do, like brewing the coffee without taking the day's coffee out before, or like trying to get out of the airplane before unbuckling my seatbelt, or, all those things, leaving the house with the wrong shoes on, 2 different shoes on. Those kind of things, they happen, and it's real life, and you just have to be real to people. Now, what I would caution people about is that you recognize the difference between authenticity and transparency. I am very authentic with people. I mean, you know so much about me, and I'm not fake, and what you see is what you get. But transparency is for friends. Transparency is for people that are super close to me. And what I mean is, I don't use my audience or my prospects for therapy. I don't use them to vent about personal life things. There are very few people that know all the details about my son's brain condition and all the issues that come along with that. They do know I have a special needs son, but they don't know about the life turmoil that goes along with it. And why is that? Well, that's because that's our issue to deal with, and it's our son's privacy, and it's our girl's privacy. So I think there's a difference. And when I tend to see people go terribly wrong is either when they try to put on the fake front to be who they think people want to see, or when they don't have on any boundaries and they let people see anything and everything and walk through their marital issues with them and their, all the little details that, my mama raised me to say some things stay at the house, and some things are family business. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for boundaries. So I think there's a difference between authenticity and transparency. And transparency is for people who are super, super, super close to us and not necessarily for public broadcasting purposes. Right. So I would say in order to draw people to you, be interested in them. Quit trying to be interesting and be interested in them. And don't just show up when you need something or want to sell something or want them to listen to what you have to say, but show up to serve them. And I think that's what makes all the difference, really.
So if you're not looking at the quote unquote competition, how do you know what else to do? Insofar as technology, like an Instagram or whatever. I mean, do you have your own set of mentors and coaches, mastermind groups that say, hey, maybe try this, so it keeps you, current and relevant, without having to look over the fence, and stare at the competition?
Yes. So we've already established that I don't stare at the competition. So I do always work with a coach or a mentor, and I have for a long, long time. I've tried going without, and that's just a dumb move for me, because I think we all, when we rest on our laurels or when we relax is when we actually go backwards. So yes, I work with a coach. My belief in social media is you choose the platform, number one, where your target audience is. So that means you have to be familiar with the demographics of the platform. And you can learn that by just Googling, demographics LinkedIn, demographics Facebook, and you can see the average age, the average income, the average gender, etc. The other thing is, I believe you need to go fish in the right pond with the right bait. So you choose the right platform where your people are, and then you choose the platform that's most comfortable for you to use. So Twitter was my first social media platform, and I loved it. And why is that? Well, it is a social media designed for the ADHD individual like myself. It's hit and run, it's in and out, it's short snippets, it's not complicated, it's easy to use. It's like text messaging to the masses. And that appealed to me. I didn't get sucked in as easily as I did with Facebook at that time. Now, as I've gotten older, now we're 6 years later, as I've gotten older and way more disciplined about that, Facebook is better for me because I can communicate visually. I can tie in with relationships with people's families. I can get a little deeper. I can drill a little deeper on a topic than 120 characters. So right now, for me, Facebook is the one. But I will tell you that I am about to move, probably not moving off of Facebook, but I'm probably about to move some really targeted areas to Instagram because a lot of people are on Instagram. They're very visually driven. It's very quick, like Twitter used to be. And because I communicate so much with the photos that are in my phone and the little quotes and the tidbits and the sound bites, it's kind of like a great marriage between Twitter and Facebook for me. And so I will probably be investigating some efforts there. But I don't ever listen to who says, oh, this is the next big thing. This is what you have to be doing. This is where you have to go. I'm enough of a rebel that that doesn't resonate with me. And who wants to be where everybody else is? As long as my audience is there and it's a good platform, user-friendly, and doesn't suck a lot of my time, that's kind of what I choose. And I really don't worry a lot about the numbers. I really don't. I worry way more about engagement than I do the numbers. I couldn't tell you how many Facebook friends I have, except to say that I had 5,000 a few years ago, and I cut back to 500. It's kind of organically grown a little bit from there, but I kind of had to learn to use it in a whole different way. I do have Facebook fans or whatever we call them now, and I know I have over 20,000, but I only know that number because somebody else mentioned that number to me. So I worry more about, are people engaging? Are they liking? Are we having conversations? Are we connecting? Than I do about, oh, so-and-so has 200 and I only have 20. You know, I just don't get caught up in all that. I just can't. Life is too big. Life is too big. My kids are too important. And I got a job to do too. I mean, I'm running a business here. I can't be all caught up in my social media metrics.
Can't get all caught up in that business.
Can't. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I got to focus. I got ADHD.
Well, and it doesn't pay. You know, Twitter, last time I checked, Twitter was not sending me a paycheck.
Well, true that. They can, but then you come off as spammy. So
there you go. And it's all about relationships. It really is.
Don't do that. All right. Well, you got to go pick up the kids, so we need to wrap this up. Any parting words of wisdom for our listeners?
Well, I would say, Wes, why don't you ask me a tough question? What's the question that your audience wants to know? What would be most helpful for them? What parting shot can I give that would be helpful to your typical listener?
We hit on some good things about mindset and overcoming adversity. We could probably go too long, because I know you say focus on the engagement. But man, when somebody's brand new and struggling, I mean, how do they're like, engagement is fine, but damn it, I got to make a sale.
Yeah.
I need some numbers.
Good point. So the most effective metric in your business is converting the sale. Period. End of story. I would throw away every social media platform just to focus on, a handful of customers if that's what it took. So I think the most important thing you can do is not focus on those things until you have a base of customers. So your first sale, first of all, you look around, who do you know that you can serve, not who you can sell, who can you serve? And that boils down to what problem are you solving in the market? So I'm solving a problem in the market. I see somebody I can serve. How do I effectively get my message across to them? Do I introduce myself to them? Do I bring it up in conversation? Do I simply ask them, who do they know that needs this? Or, hey, you could be a helpful resource for me. This is what I do. This is who I serve. Who do you know? You can also do not overlook your local networking meetings. Chamber of Commerce's, come on, people, they're there for a reason, and they're not being worked effectively by most people. I promise you I could build $1 million business just out of a Chamber of Commerce by going to build some relationships. Mm-hmm. Get out the house, put on some clothes, go meet some people, and do that. You can also, to build some of your engagement, you could do Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, but typically your first and second customers are within the sphere of people you know or the people that they know. So it's a matter of stop being scared to ask and stop being afraid to tell people what you do. Get the first or second sell. You can worry about all the bright and shiny objects and all the tricks later. When I started the Barefoot Executive, it really was just for networking. I already had an almost $1 million business doing newsletters. I didn't have to start the Barefoot Executive for money. I started it just to connect with other people and build relationships with other people who might be feeling alone working at home. And out of those relationships came an incredible business because I was solving a need in the market for connection and encouragement and resources and motivation. So I think let's move our head away from the sell and instead of to the serve and get the client, whether you have to present a proposal to a client, but you have to offer to help them with that. People aren't just going to jump into your lap and ask, can I do business with you? Sometimes you have to say, hey, I would love to help you with that. I would love to serve you in this way. This is how I typically work with my clients. Scenario A, scenario B, scenario C. Which of those works best for you? Sometimes, Wes, I think the biggest thing is we're just not asking enough. We're waiting for the fish to jump in the boat, and we're not casting the reel.
Yeah. What's the saying? I saw you're a preacher's daughter, right? So
Yep.
That God he feeds even the sparrows, right? But that bird's got to get out of the nest.
The bird has to pick up the food, right? God doesn't reach the hand down and put the worm in his beak. He probably scatters it, and the bird has to go get it. And the fish just don't jump into the boat. You have to cast the net or bait the hook or something. There's a lot of business to be had. Do not believe the economy mess. There's a lot of business to be had. People are spending money to solve their problems, to fix their pain, to get back into their genes, to be better parents, to be in the house of their dreams. People are spending, so don't believe the lie that they're not. But there are no instant fixes, shortcuts, and it's not always easy, guys. It can be simple, but it's not always easy. You got to be willing to do the work. There's lots of blood, sweat, and tears in building a business. It's not just glamorous and yes, I've been on CNN. Yes, I've been on Fox. Yes, I have a book, but I'm telling you what you don't see are all the bloodied knees and the concussions and the stitches and the literal and virtual scars from all the lessons that I learned along the way. So just hang in there, keep at it. What I will tell you is the first sale typically is luck. The second one is a little harder. And the third, and from then on, that's just dogged persistence. So hang in there and you've got this.
Well, I will include a video on this, of fish jumping into the boat. But that's, have you seen that? I forget where it is. I think it's up in Minnesota or somewhere up there. I don't know. But they put helmets on and they drive through the water. And it frightens the fish like they're in their mating season or something. But these are 30-pound fish.
Holy smokes! And they literally jump into the boat.
They jump. People have helmets, like football helmets on, and people get knocked out.
That's funny. But you know what I would say is that they geared up, suited up, and got in the boat.
They did. And then some were scared. So sometimes your fish jumping in your boat knocks you out and breaks your nose. So even that isn't always a good thing. So this is pretty dang funny.
This country podcast right here. That's what we're doing.
There you go. All right. So we will send everybody. I didn't find your Instagram. Should we send them to Instagram? You want them to go to carriewilkerson.com?
Well, you know what? I have an Instagram account, but I haven't put anything on it yet. So okay. KarrieWilkerson.com is my blog. Carrie, as in the Stephen King spelling. KarrieWilkerson.com. And then my Facebook is Barefoot Executive. Twitter is Carrie Wilkerson, and YouTube is Barefoot Exec. So you can find me in those places. I will be rocking that Instagram super soon. I think I'm going to start really plowing into that through some holidays, some downtimes when nobody else is a lot, so that I can kind of get in there and make some mistakes and figure it out while a lot of people aren't watching.
Sounds good. Well, I think the principal at your school is calling, saying you need to go pick up your kids. There you go.
Come pick up these children before we sell them. Thank you, Les,
thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
What'd I tell you? Some good stuff right there. As she ended, people have money, right? They are spending money. In all economies, people are spending money. Your first sale is luck. The second is a little harder. And the rest are dogged determination. No, you can't just start a Twitter account and make money, Maybe some can, but most can't. And I think even those that say they do probably aren't making as much as they say. Somebody should write a book with the title of "It Takes More Than a Big Smile, a Good Idea, and a Twitter Account to Build a Business That Lasts." I think I did. Check out 79stories.info for that book. Oh, yeah. But as I was saying, Carrie had some great points there on focusing more on engagement versus numbers, okay? But obviously, as, the next thing she said, converting the sale is your most important metric. So too many people are professional networkers. I always say, if you were arrested for being in sales, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Okay, so make sure you're putting yourself out there. Overcome your hermit, as she said, and get out there and network and speak and build your brand, build your celebrity status, right? Be known for what you do. Be known as an expert in your industry, in your niche. You have to toot your own horn. Okay. But as Carrie says, be interested in others, right? Show up to serve. And when you're doing that, when you're listening, when you're sharing ideas, when you're helping others and you're visible about that, that's how you can toot your own horn, right? And get others to do that for you. So you are seen as the expert. But you have to get started. I love what she said. We all start at the same place, which is zero. Stop comparing yourself. Okay, just get started. Run your best race. Okay, she mentioned the Secretariat movie. Let the horse run his own race. You need to get started. And I say it every time. Pull the trigger and ride the bullet. Be bold. Move fast. Break things. Most people fail because they fail to start. You can't steer a parked car. Get going. All right. If an overweight, depressed, stay-at-home mom with no business background, considering suicide, had a whopping 3 people on her list, can build a business, so can you. Okay? The only difference is Carrie got started, and she's stuck with it, and she's still going. No superpowers, no pixie dust, no hocus pocus, all right? Just dogged determination. As she mentioned, sales is the most important metric. If you need help with that, and I'm beating the drum here for a while because I'm just seeing too many people struggling here, check out 30daysalesgrowth.com. Enter the promo code podcast to save yourself a few bucks. But get started. Learn how to sell. Learn how to sell as a professional. I promise you, you will feel better about yourself. There's no sleazy, cheesy, high-pressure tactics in there. It's truly what I have done since at least 2006 when I was still in corporate America. It's how I built my own sales. It's how I built my business. Okay, so check that out. Get ordered. We've got a private group on Facebook where you can ask questions and interact with other members. I can answer your questions as well there. Okay, so check it out. 30daysalesgrowth.com, promo code podcast to save $30. As always, I appreciate 5-star reviews on iTunes. And remember to sell different.